Good morning, students. Good morning, students.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yes. Okay, so we'll move on to the lecture. So today we are moving on to a new topic, new unit. The topic is polyethylene. So here the fibers that are made from the polymer or copolymer of olefin hydrocarbon. Olefin hydrocarbon means olefin, which has some double bond. Okay, like ethylene, propylene, those kind of uh, uh, polymers or copolymers from where the fiber is made is called olefin fibers. Okay, so if you do the polymerization of olefin hydrocarbon, it will become polyolefin. So under this polyolefin, there are two categories. These are the two important fibers. The names are polyethylene and polypropylene. Okay. So among these two, we will be discussing on polyethylene today. Okay. So we will now go for the further discussion about polyethylene. So polyethylene has the simplest basic structure of any polymer. Okay, it's a very simple structure. There is no complicated type of structure. The monomer for this process is ethylene, okay, which is a olefin hydrocarbon. So how it is produced? It is produced by the addition polymerization. Addition polymerization means the monomers are usually made up of a double bond and it will not liberate any byproduct. Okay. Ethylene will be converted into polyethylene, propylene will be converted into polypropylene, like that. And what is polyethylene? It is a wax-like thermoplastic. And its softening temperature is very less, around say 80 to 130 degrees centigrade, and with a density less than that of water. That is why when you take the polyethylene fiber and put it in water, it will float, because the density of the polyethylene fiber is less than 1. Okay, less than the density of water. Now, how to produce this polyethylene? There are three processes that are commercially practiced. One is the high pressure process, another is the intermediate pressure process or Phillips process, and next is the low pressure process or Ziegler process. First, we will see the high pressure process. So this is a process developed in UK by ICI, which is the Imperial Chemical Industries. Like a free radical polymerization process, it is similar to the, you have to use a catalyst. So you need a catalyst. Here the catalyst used is peroxide, which is the hydrogen peroxide. You need a hydrogen peroxide along with the monomer. At a particular temperature, you heat the monomer at a temperature of say 100 to 300 degrees centigrade. And with the help of a catalyst, you do the process along with some initiator also. You will know what is the initiator already. I have explained you what is the initiator. So here you will add an initiator. The initiator uses this oxygen or any kind of an organic peroxide. Okay, so initiator will act as a both as a catalyst as well as.
Sir.
Pardon?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, your voice is not clear.
Voice is not clear. Oh.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will check just a minute. I will connect to microphone with the voice.
Okay, sir.
Could you hear me now? How is the voice now? Is it the same or is it different? Is it clear to you?
No, it's clear, sir.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So we will continue. So I will again explain the process once again. Let us go back to the previous slide. There are three technologies to produce the polyethylene. One is the high pressure process, another is the intermediate pressure process, or it can be called the Phillips process, and next is the low pressure process or Ziegler process. First we will see the high pressure process. So from the name itself you can understand high pressure, it means that you are going to use a high pressure. This process was developed in UK by ICI, which is the Imperial Chemical Industries. So this process involves a high pressure and high temperature. You need to use a temperature of say 100 to 300 degrees centigrade at a very high pressure of 1000 to 2500 atmospheres. And for this reaction, you require a catalyst, like an initiator. You need an initiator to start the reaction. So it's like it's a free radical polymerization. Okay. So because it involves the addition of an initiator that will produce the free radical. What are the types of initiator you can use? You can use an initiator like an oxygen, or you can use an initiator like an organic peroxide. You can use, so that through this reaction, what happens? Ethylene undergoes polymerization to produce polyethylene. Okay. So this reaction, voice is still breaking. Is my voice breaking? Hello, is my voice breaking?
No, sir. No, sir.
No. Okay. I will continue then. Okay. So here, this is the heat of enthalpy. There is the delta H, which is the minus 92. This is normally this internal energy which is maintained during the reaction. It will be negative because it is a spontaneous reaction. So the main thing is you need to know is from this high pressure process, ethylene monomer is converted to polyethylene, and then you get a polyethylene which is of a low density. Okay, you produce a polymer that has a low density and a low melting point, which is called the low density polyethylene, which is abbreviated as LDPE. Okay. And how do you do that? In some detailed flow chart is easily to understand. You can take the ethylene, which is the compressed purified ethylene, with the initiator, you mix it and you do the polymerization. Then after doing the polymerization, it is the free radical polymerization. So it involves the help of an initiator that will, like any oxygen or peroxide, and it will produce a free radical that will start making the polymerization. And once the polymerization is over, you will be getting the LDPE polymer, which is the low density polyethylene. And once it is produced, you can cut the polymer into pieces and use it for the spinning. So this polymer molecule will contain 4,000 to 40,000 carbon atoms with many short branches. It is not a linear polymer, it is a branched polymer. Okay, it will contain many short branches. And you know why it contains so many carbon atoms? Because it is a hydrocarbon. इस structure में hydrogen और carbon उसके अलावा कोई नहीं है, because it is a monomer is a olefin hydrocarbon. Okay, there are about 20 branches per 1,000 carbon atoms. Okay, you can understand how many branches are there for every carbon atom. Let us assume if it is 40,000 carbon atoms, then multiplied by 40, you will get around 800 branches. So it is a very branched polymer. The molecular weight and branching, it influences the physical properties, because this is important. Molecular weight and the degree of branching, it influences the physical properties, and this branching affects the degree of crystallinity, so that will affect the density. So the density will be obviously less than 1. So you can see it will be, the structure will be something like this. You can see it is not a linear polymer. You can see it goes like this, and again there is a branch, and it goes like this, and again there is a branch, and again there is a branch. Like that, many branches are there. So if you see in the structure, you can see this is the ethylene. With that, you can see it is not a linear. When it goes like this, here again one branch, and again if it goes linear, and again another branch. Like that, it will be repeating. So because of these branches, what happened? The polymer molecules are not close to each other. It prevents the molecule, these branches prevent the molecules fitting closely each other. So it has a low density. Okay, and it is generally it's an amorphous polymer and transparent. Transparent in the sense, if you take the polymer, the other side, it will be easily visible with less crystallinity, with about only 50% crystalline. Okay. Next is the low pressure process. So previously we have seen the high pressure process. Now we are going to see the low pressure process. This was developed in Germany for preparing the high density polyethylene. Previously we have discussed about low density polyethylene. Now we are going to discuss about high density polyethylene. So by using some reactor, some big reactor is there where you are going to do the same addition polymerization with the help of formation of free radicals again. Okay, so it's a free radical polymerization. So what is the catalyst used? This also requires a catalyst for performing the reaction. The catalyst used is aluminum triethyl activated with heavy metal derivatives. Okay, that is a catalyst. The catalyst used is TiCl4. Okay, which is the titanium tetrachloride. Okay, you just start pumping the ethylene through the system. You will pump the ethylene monomer to the reactor, and then you will pump the catalyst also, and you will do the polymerization. There are some steps involved which is mostly similar for many processes. First you will pump the ethylene into the reactor, and then it will mix with the catalyst diluent stream. See here, you are through this channel, you are introducing the catalyst. You prepare the catalyst and then you introduce it. Okay, that will actually reach here. This is the reactor, and in another way you are introducing the ethylene. So both will mix each other. So you will do this with a less pressure. Okay, so the process, you can understand, it is a low pressure process, but the polymer produced is the high density. Okay, that is the difference. It is contradictory. In a high pressure process, you produce a low density polyethylene. In a low pressure process, you are producing a high density polyethylene. Okay, so the optimal temperature and pressure is 70 degree. Less temperature you are using, whereas you used 100 to 300 degree in the low density polyethylene. Here you are using a less temperature of 70 degree with the less pressure of say 7 atmospheres. You do the polymerization, and once the polymerization is done, the next steps like effluent stream, whichever is coming, that will be collected in some flash drums to remove some solvent, whatever is there from the catalyst that has to be removed. You can remove the residual catalyst which is not reacted by adding some water, and then whichever recycling process to be done, that can be done by using any kind of a drying or a redistillation techniques. And once the slurry is formed, you can just centrifuge it to separate the water from the slurry. Slurry means it is something like a colloidal solution. Okay, so from there you can remove the water so that you can remove the catalyst which is not reacted for recycling and reusing it for next process. And finally what you do is you take the polyethylene solid that is formed, because centrifugation is something like separation. You separate both the filtrate and the supernatant. You will separate both the settled particles and the water separately. Okay, the water means some solvent, some catalyst, some other initiator, whichever is not reacted, that you will separate out. And once your polyethylene is formed, you will dry it, you will extrude it, and then whatever form you want to give, you want to make some chips form or whatever shapes you want to make, that you can make. So this is how you make the high density polyethylene. And once you make the polyethylene powder, you can cut them into some pieces in form of a small granules or pieces, whatever you desire, and you will get a high density polyethylene. See, the advantage of this method is you produce a high density polyethylene, you produce a linear polymer. You can see the linearity in the structure, the polymer chains. You can see that is very linear. One over the other, the polymer chains are close to each other so that they can join together. Okay, the cohesion of the polymer chains, it gets increased because it's a linear polymer. Okay, they can fit close to each other. So because of fitting close to each other, what happens? It leads to strong intermolecular bonds. Okay, this is very desirable for the fiber formation. So because once the polymer chains
bind together, when the cohesion increases, it leads to strong intermolecular bonds. The material becomes stronger, denser, more rigid than the LDPE. Okay, and because of the strong intermolecular bonds, because of the close formation of the polymer chains, the polymer is not transparent like LDPE. Okay, so that is the difference you need to understand. And now we have come to more important kind of a discussion, which is the spinning of polyethylene. Now, can we do melt spinning for this polyethylene? That is a question. Can we do the melt spinning? Is it possible to do the melt spinning for this polymer? It is not possible. Okay. Melt spinning is recommended for situations where the polymer is thermally stable. If the polymer is not thermally stable, in the sense if the polymer before reaching the melting temperature, if it degrades, in that case the melt spinning is not a correct option to go for that polymer. Okay, so melt spinning of polyethylene, it is not possible. Why? Not only that is the reason, there are some other reasons also. The reason is, here when you do the melt spinning for the polyethylene, what will happen is, if you melt the polyethylene, what will happen? It will melt. You will get some molten fluid. You will get, but what will happen is, after you melt it and then extrude and form the filament, that filament will not have the good mechanical property. It will not have the good strength. Okay, because once the filament is formed after the spinning, that filament has to be uniaxially stretched. You have to stretch the filaments in the straight uniaxial, in the fiber direction. You have to stretch it to do the drawing. Okay, so once you do that, the drawing, that time what will happen? The fibers will break. Why? Because it is already degraded. Okay, so during the drawing, what will happen? You will stretch the filaments in the uniaxial direction. You will stretch it in the fiber axis direction. That time it will not have a good bond strength because of the degradation. So for getting the mechanical property, what you need a highly extended chain structure. If you have something which is in a highly entangled form, and if you just unfold the polymer chains, it should get extended, okay, without any kind of a defect, okay, without any kind of a branches. Then only you will get the mechanical property. Otherwise, you will not get the mechanical property. That is the reason why for a certain fibers which have the high molecular weight, it is not recommended to go for the melt spinning. Okay, and another thing is that whatever molten fluid that you are producing from melting this polyethylene, that has the high molecular weight and it has the high melt, high elongational viscosity. So these things, what it does is, it produces a high degree of chain entanglement, something like a Maggi noodles you can imagine, which will contain a lot of entanglements, like some, you can say, if you take a plate full of worms, and what will happen if you there is full of worms are there, it will be totally entangled structure. So during the spinning process, what you do, you melt the polymer and then you will do the extrusion. During the extrusion, what will happen? Whichever is in the entangled state, that has to get stretched, because you apply two forces. You will apply the shear force during the melting, and you will apply the elongational force when you extrude. Okay, so what will happen if the entanglement density is very high, and if you do the melt spinning, the polymer chains cannot freely move with respect to each other. If it cannot move freely with respect to each other, what will happen? It is very difficult to open it. It is very difficult to unfold it, because it will not pass through each other. Okay, so once you do the melt spinning, you will not get the proper ideal uniaxial extended polymer chain structure. That is not possible when you do the melt spinning. So what is the alternative for this? You have to go for some different spinning method. What is that spinning method? The spinning method is the solution spinning. Okay. In that case, if you are going for a solution spinning, in solution spinning, what you will do? You will take a you will take a polymer, take a solvent, dissolve that polymer in a solvent and produce a spinnable dope, and that you will extrude it. You will heat to some temperature, and then you will dissolve the make a solution, and then you will extrude and make the filament. In that case, there is some problems associated when you do the solution spinning, like a wet spinning or a dry spinning. If you do, there also some problems are there. What problem will be there? If you make a dilute solution, for example, in that case, what happened? The entanglement density will be very low. If, for example, if you make a solution where if you take a less amount of a polymer and dissolve it in a more amount of solvent to make a solution, I take some 30% of polymer and dissolve it in 70 ml of water, something like that, or 100 ml of water, 100 ml of solvent, and dissolve it, and then make the spinning. What will happen? The entanglement density will be very low. So that is also a problem. If the entanglement density is very low, what will happen? There also the stress will not be easily transferred from one polymer chain to another polymer chain because of the poor connection. Okay, so that what will happen again? This same entanglement, wherever the entanglements are there, the molecular chain will be in a coiled or a folded configuration because of the poor connectivity. Okay, so low entanglement density in a solution also results in a molecular chains, polymer chains left free in a coiled or a globular configuration. And once you produce the fiber, after that, if you do the drawing, what will happen? It will be difficult to orient. You will not get the uniaxial extended structure. You will not get the strain structure. Just imagine like this: you have a Maggi noodles with you, and what you need to do drawing is you need to make it straight. The Maggi noodles में पूरा entangled है like a worms which pass over each other, and every Maggi noodle will have some single noodle. That noodle you have to straighten it out. That is the drawing process. Okay, because of that, what will happen? It will lead to poor spinnability. So what is the solution for this process? You cannot go for melt spinning. Then what is the alternative? You have to go for solution spinning. And solution spinning, you with the normal dry or wet spinning, you will have to produce a dilute solution, and there also you are getting this problem. Then what is the alternative? You have to go for some different spinning method, some variation in the solution spinning. So you have to do some different spinning method that is different from the normal dry and wet solution spinning. What is that method that we are going to see now? See, this is the diagram explaining. If you take, for example, if you take a concentrated solution, instead of using a dilute solution, if you take a concentrated solution, what will happen? You will still, it will crystallization when you do the crystallization, because crystallization happens during the spinning and also during the drawing and also during the heat setting. At 3 stages, the crystallization, to some extent, it will be happening. In every stage, there will be an increase in the.
Sir,
Yes.
excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Your voice is breaking.
Breaking. Oh my God. Again.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Oh, I don't know what to do. I will do one thing. Can I?
Sir,
Yes.
sir, just repeat this only. Your voice
This one.
started breaking at dilute solution. First, when you
Dilute
crystallize that.
This one. Previous slide.
No, sir.
Okay.
Same slide. Same slide.
Same slide. Same slide.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will just repeat. But is my voice clear to you now, Nikita Abhay Patel?
Yes, sir.
What about Nikita? Is it clear?
सर कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा आप क्या बोल रहे तो
I will do one thing. I will just disconnect and rejoin. That is the only way. Could you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if there is voice problem, please tell me so that I will stop and then again restart. Okay, so I will continue with that. So I was discussing about the entanglement density. So see, I told you that melt spinning for this fiber, it is not possible because of various reasons I have told you. But in that case, if we go for a solution spinning में क्या करते हैं? There is some we have to take a polymer and we need a solvent to dissolve it. We will not take 100% polymer. We will take some 30% or 25% polymer, so that, and we will dissolve it. Okay, so that what will happen once it is dissolved, we will extrude that. Okay, to make it a filament. That is how we do the solution spinning. If it is a dry spinning, what we will do? We will extrude it in the dry air. If it is a wet spinning, what we will do? We will extrude it, and then once again we will use a non-solvent for removing the solvent. Two-way mass transfer will happen, and then we will do the extrusion. Finally, we will extrude the filament. But if you do that kind of a spinning to this polyethylene, what will happen is the entanglement density will be very less. Okay, it is a entanglement density. If it is very high, that is also a problem. Okay, because it is very difficult to unfold all the polymer chains. Okay, it will be in a very convoluted kind of a Maggi noodles kind of thing, where it will be very difficult to open every Maggi noodle. It will be very difficult if the melt viscosity is very high. But in the case, if you make a very diluted solution, in the extreme case, opposite from the melt spinning, if you do the diluted kind of a solution spinning, if you do, what will happen is the entanglement density will be very less. So that what will happen if that is less, in that case also there will be poor connectivity among the polymer chains. And the polymer chains, इनमें क्या होता है, from one polymer chain to another polymer chain, you cannot pause the stress because it is a stress induced process. Okay, in that case also what will happen, the entanglement density will be less, and still the polymer chains will be left with some sort of a coiled or a globular configuration. So that again, after you make the fiber and do the drawing, it will not orient. Again, that is also a problem. You will not get the uniaxial extended structure. So that finally what will happen, it will result in a poor spinnability. Okay, I just show you a diagram. This is the first discussion which we saw. If you make the concentrated solution, okay, if you take 100% polymer and then dissolve it and make a concentrated solution, or you do the melting, there also you're going to do the crystallization. Okay, because this crystallization is a part of fiber manufacture. During the fiber manufacture itself, some crystallization happens, and in drawing it will be more, and in heat setting it will be still more. Okay, so at every stage it happens. So if the entanglement density will be very high during the concentrated solution or the melt, if you make a very highly concentrated solution, or if you just melt and have the molten solution, in both the case, you see it will be like a convoluted Maggi noodles. Okay, and once some crystallization happens during the fiber manufacture, okay, still you can see you will not get the there are some chain foldings like this, the polymer chain foldings, and there are in some place where the crystals are there, where you can see this kind of a black kind of a thing, and there are other places where some defects are there. And finally, when you do the drawing, what will happen is you will not get the proper extended structure, because ये इसमें fiber बन जाता है. Either this is the place, the middle place where the fiber formation takes place. So in that place, there can be certain folds, because there can be some folds like this, and there can be a break, and there can be a folds like this, there can be a break, because it's not a 100% crystalline. There will be an amorphous region and a crystalline region, so there can be folds. But if the melt is very concentrated, what will happen is, if you extend it, you will not get the extended structure. You need a structure like this. Okay, you need to make the Maggi noodles something like this. You have to straighten out every individual polymer chains like this. Then only you will get the mechanical properties. Okay, for example, this is for the melt. Melt is if you do the melt spinning or if you do the concentrated solution spinning. But in the extreme case, if you do the dilute solution spinning, okay, if you make a dilute solution, when you do it for, as you do it for a dry spinning or a wet spinning, in that case, what will happen? During the crystallization, you may try to produce a fiber with some folds, because normally when you manufacture a fiber, that will have some chain folds with some gaps also. But after drawing, what will happen? It will lead to poor drawability, because when you do the drawing, that time it will be difficult to unfold, because at some place there will be some coiled or globular type of a structure will be there, so that it will be difficult to unfold it, because stress will not easily pass to one polymer chain to other polymer chain. It will not easily pass over. Okay, so that will lead to bad drawability. If it leads to bad drawability, you will not get the strength. Okay, see, you need to understand one thing. Fiber manufacture means it is not that when you do any spinning method and your fiber is ready and you can do the weaving and your fabric is ready for other purpose. Fiber manufacture, drawing and heat setting, it is these three should be completed for realizing standard apparel or a technical textile. So these three are a part of the fiber manufacture. Okay. See, so that is how you should understand. If you go for a concentrated solution or a melt, or if you go for a dilute solution, in both the cases, it affects the drawability, so it affects the mechanical property. So you need to modify that method. How will you modify that? You need to make a semi-dilute solution. It is not extreme dilute or it is not the extreme concentrated. You need to make a semi-dilute solution. Okay, what is that semi-dilute solution that we will see now? So semi-dilute solution means you will take the same polymer and then going to use the same solvent, and then what you do is you will make some sort of a gel structure. Okay, something like an elastic kind of a gel structure you will make. You will make some elastic kind of a gel. You know what is a gel? Okay, so you will make some elastic kind of a gel structure. If you make that structure, what will happen is, if you make in a dilute solution, the entanglement density will be an optimum level. It is not that entanglement density is absent. Then if the entanglements are not there, then you cannot do the drawing. So entanglement density should be there and it should be optimum. Okay, there should be some sufficient number of entanglements. So when you do the spinning, some stress can pass over to all the polymer chains. Okay, in a semi-dilute solution, the polymer chains are forced to extend in a chain structure using the physical interactions in the gel state. In the gel state, क्या होता है? You can actually extend the polymer chains. Okay, if you just extend it, what will happen? The stress can easily pass from one polymer chain to another because of the physical interactions. Okay, in the gel state, when the polymer, if you convert it into dissolve it in a solvent and convert into some sort of a gel, that gel actually has some physical interactions, so that makes the stress transfer easily to happen over to all the polymer chains. Okay, so what will happen when you do the fiber manufacture? There also you will get the fiber formation, and once after the fiber formation, you will have some chain folds, something like this, some folded structure. And once you do the drawing and if you extend this, the whatever folds are there, if you extend it, it will lead to a ideal structure like this. It will lead to a uniaxial extended structure with a very less defects. Okay, so you will get a very high orientation. If you get a high orientation, then only you will get the strength. Okay, it is not that crystallinity that gives the strength. It is the orientation that gives the strength. Okay, that is the reason why you see when you do the proper drawing, when you do that in the drawing only, you actually, what happens, your mechanical properties, you are improving it. And that will be possible only when you use a solution that is in the gel form. Okay, when you make a gel kind of a solution, if you make gel state, when the polymer, if you convert into the gel state by dissolving it in a solvent, then only you will get a, you can pass the stress over each the polymer chains, the stress can be passed and you will get a control in the morphology. Okay, so you see for certain fibers, polyethylene में बहुत types हैं, like low density, high density, linear low density, ultra high molecular weight. Many polyethylenes are there. You can see for whatever polyethylene where the strength is very high, it is because of the orientation. You can see how the polymer chains are oriented. Here you can see there are some folds and there is a break, and there are some folds, there is a break, some defects are there. So it is difficult to orient it. So that is why the oriented structures have the high crystallinity also, and it has the good strength. Okay, so now we will see how this gel spinning is done. I have told you in the gel spinning process क्या करते हैं? You take a solvent, you take a polymer, dissolve it in some temperature and some conditions where the polymer will be flowable, and then you will make a gel so that if you extrude, it will form a gel structure. Because of this gel structure, what will happen? Spinning stress can easily transfer from one polymer chain to another polymer chain, so that individual polymer chains will connect each other. And once you do this, and after this process, you do the coagulation, so you will get a good network structure. So in that network structure, if you do the drawing, you are going to get a high tensile strength and modulus. Okay. So this is the thing you need to understand from the gel spinning. Now, how to do this gel spinning? There are 3 steps. One is the dissolution, another is the spinning, another is the drawing. First, you take the polymer, you need a solvent. Can you use water for this? Will polyethylene, will it dissolve in water? It will not dissolve in water. You have to use some solvents like a decalin, paraffin oil, naphthalene oil, mineral oil. Okay, you take a polyethylene. It can be, here I have mentioned UHMWP, which is the ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. If you want a low, if you are using a low density polyethylene, then in that case you can use an LDPA. If you are using a high density polyethylene, you can use a HDPA, and then you dissolve it. Okay, how you dissolve it? You do some stirring. At some temperature, you do some stirring. So that what will happen at a particular temperature with stirring, there will be some optimum number of entanglements with the minimum chain ends, so that your gel is ready. And after that, what you do? You do the spinning. Okay, once the optimum entanglements are formed, then during the spinning, you feel there will, during a gel-like spun fiber will be formed at 130 to 140 degrees centigrade with controlled crystallization and minimum number of entanglements. Okay, so this is the thing. And after that, you do the drawing with the draw ratios, whatever you want. You can keep the draw ratio, whatever you require, like whatever draw ratio you require for which end use you want to use. If you want to use it for a technical textile or for the apparel, whatever you're interested, how much strength you need. Okay, so that you can do. This is the schematic diagram you can see here. This is ultra high molecular weight HDPE, but it is for any polyethylene you can use this. Okay, the recommended spinning method is the gel spinning. That you need to understand. You take the solvent in this reactor, mix with the polymer, which is the polyethylene, LDPE, HDPE, LLDPE, or UHMWP, whatever is the polyethylene. Dissolve it. And this metering pump, you know, I do not need to explain you what is the metering pump. You have learned already in the melt spinning. And after that, here, once it is mixed, it will have some optimum number of entanglements, and you can just extrude this in the gel state. You can extrude it so that the polymer chains will connect with each other, and it will have a less number of chain ends, and it will lead to a good fiber with strength, good strength and orientation. And this is the quenching bath. Here we are doing something like a non-solvent type of a quenching. We can use the water also, and after that it goes to oven for drying, and your HDPE filaments are ready. After this, if you do the drawing, it will lead to good orientation. You will get the better drawability, so that because of the better drawability, you're going to get the good strength. That is why polyethylene fibers are used in many technical applications where the strength required expected is higher. Okay, so I'm stopping here for today. I want to know whether have you understood anything from my explanation? Did you understand? Who is that? Pawar. Okay, what about Nikita? Nikita Jogi? Nikita? What about Abhay Patil?
A little good, sir.
Okay. What is the problem? Voice में problem है क्या अभी भी?
नहीं, वॉइस में प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, लेकिन वो बीच में जब हो रहा था ना ऐसा, तो उसकी वजह से कुछ समझ आ नहीं था.
Okay. I will do one thing. In that case, I will send you the recorded lecture.
Sir?
No. In that case, I will send you the recorded lecture. Recorded lecture.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. So I will stop here for today. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. This is a very interesting kind of a spinning method and very important to understand for the technical textile and composites. This polyethylene fibers have a very good application. Okay, so I will stop here for today, and we will meet.
Hello, sir.
Yes, pardon. Who is that? Atish. Yes, Atish.
सर जो आपने बोला पॉलीथिलीन डेंसिटी उसकी लेस पॉइंट क्या है फिर से बताना.
Atish, I could not hear your voice. Can you be little clear?
सर आपको फर्स्ट स्लाइड में बताया ना पॉलीथिलीन की डेंसिटी वाटर से कम होती है.
हाँ.
वो पॉइंट फिर से बताओ ना.
Okay. फर्स्ट स्लाइड में ठीक है. This one. See, it is a wax-like thermoplastic softening. Okay, this is a hydrocarbon. You understand? This polyethylene, it is a hydrocarbon and it has a less density. It is a simplest polymer where you can see the polymer is you can see only there are some 2 hydrogen atoms, 2 carbon atoms in the monomer. It is not like something like an acrylonitrile or the nylon monomer, whatever you are using, the reactants. You can see the elements that are present in the structure. You can see less number of elements. You can see carbon and hydrogen. Only it's a hydrocarbon. Okay, there are no other compounds present in it. So it will. It is like a wax. Wax, when you melt it, how it melts. Okay, similarly this will also melt. Okay, so this is the fiber with a less melting temperature. Okay, because of the poor intermolecular hydrogen bonds, because there is because it's a little branched type of a polyethylene as it is a very you can say it is an amorphous type of a system where less number of linearity, so more number of branching is there, so the melting temperature is the less. You can see, for if you compare this polyethylene with the other fibers, nylon or polyester, the melting temperature is very less because the intermolecular forces are less. Okay, so here this fiber has a less density. Okay, this fiber will float in water. That is why this fiber, because of the less density, it floats in water. If you take the polyethylene or polypropylene, both have the less melting point. Okay, if you take these fibers and put it in water, it will float. Okay. Yes, Adish, do you understand? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So we will stop here for today. I will just take the attendance and we will. Okay, attendance is already recorded. Okay, so we will stop here for today. We'll meet in the next lecture.